my channel. Today I'll be talking about another historical novel, The Mercies by Kiran Millwood Hargrave, and this is a novel set in 16th century Norway on a small island at the north called Vardø. And this historical novel is actually based on real events, and it starts off on Christmas Eve of 1617 when this big freak storm hits the northern coast of Norway and this island of Vardø. And because the men are out fishing at that point, all of them get killed when, I think it says, the sky and the sea become one, and they're swallowed, with their bodies being brought up to shore a couple of days later, leaving behind a community of women, children and the elderly. And up to this point, this community has been 100% reliant on the men and their fishing skills, and now these women have to adapt to this new situation, especially when they realize that there's no help coming and they are left to fend for themselves and kind of fill the shoes of the men that left them behind. And we are seeing this situation unfold through the eyes of Maren, who is this young woman who lost her father, brother and fiancé to the storm, and we see through her eyes just how the community changes, how the women change and their relationships to one another as they just try to get on with their lives and stay alive in a country that is really harsh and only lets you use its resources a couple of months a year. As a second point of view, we get that of Ursa. We meet her a couple of years later when she is married off by her father to a Scottish man called Absalom Cornet. And Absalom has been called to Norway due to his amazing witch hunting skills, because in North Scotland he is quite well known for his many burnings of women and men. The King of Norway decided that the storm, this freak storm up in Vardø, was actually the result of witchcraft, and he wants Absalom to go up to this island and find out which men and women were responsible for the deaths of so many men. And as I mentioned before, The Mercies is loosely based on historical events. This freak storm of 1617 really happened and 40 men were killed. And just like in the novel, the King of Norway, who wanted to leave behind a legacy, decided to go on a hunt for witches up there. In total, 91 people were burned due to these witch trials, which in the greater scope of things doesn't sound like that many people if you consider that there was over 30,000 people that were killed due to witch huntings. But measured at the population of that area, historians suspect that actually they had the most witch trials up in this area. If you are more interested in closer real facts, I've linked a couple of websites down below so you can just kind of look up what is going on. And I expected The Mercies to be quite a plot-heavy book with a great focus on the trials, maybe on women hiding or trying to fight their fate, but instead this book is more of a character study, with the character actually being this community of women and how they adapted after the storm to their new situation, and how their strength and resilience led to them being persecuted. And we see this once through Maren's eyes and then again through the eyes of an outsider, Ursa, who up until this point had a very traditional idea of femininity and the position of a woman, and also an idea of Christianity. And through these two perspectives we get this very full and three-dimensional picture of the women of Vardø and how they develop over time, and how after the storm they face this horrible situation of being hunted due to their resilience. With The Mercies focusing on the small community of women, we of course get a big variety of ways that these people react to these difficult situations after the storm. We have women who fall into depression, others who turn to extreme forms of Christianity, and again others who kind of put on the men's shoes and make sure that the community sticks together, but at the same time we just see that working together isn't always that easy, and that people are tearing apart this community that really has to stick together, which is also due to how they were treated from the outside. The only person that comes to help them is a pastor who is neither physically nor emotionally able to help them. And through Martin's eyes we see how neighbours are able to claim that old friends or neighbours are witches, whilst through Ursa's eyes we see what type of man would want to burn women, and just what power was in play during this time, and not so much the Christianity as everyone always likes to claim. I personally was a bit disappointed by this book because, as I said, I was expecting a more plot-heavy book, and I just wasn't in the mood for a character study when I started the Mercies, so I know it's kind of my own fault. Maybe I looked back at the synopsis and maybe I should have guessed that this was not going to be a dramatic read, but I kind of went into it that way, and that is of course not the book's fault. I think if you are looking for a character study, this book would probably be quite good, just because you have this great cast of women and you see so many perspectives on ways to deal with trauma and being put under pressure by men, and just in general living a harsh life. We also have these two female characters who realize that they are actually in love in a time when, of course, only heterosexual relationships were allowed, and we just see them struggling not just with the dangers of the witch trials, but also the danger of being found out, and just how wonderfully they support one another. Maybe I would have been able to appreciate this kind of story more at a different point of time, but right now it was just not the right story for me. I can't really say that much about writing style. I found the sentences a bit long at times, and I stumbled while reading quite a bit, but that might have just been due to me reading in the evening after having sat at the laptop for hours during the day, so this also might not be the fault of the books, though I really do have a feeling the sentences were quite long. But yeah, I can't really objectively say anything to that right now. At the end of the day, I feel quite meh about this book, especially as I was looking forward to reading so much. I thought this was going to be one of my favorite books of 2021 before I picked it up, just because it sounded so amazing with this cast of only female characters and witch trials that I don't know that much about, plus Scandinavia has always fascinated me in some way or other. But yeah, it was let down, but I think other people will really enjoy it. I don't have anything more to say, so please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.